you doing, everyone? It's been a while since my last real video update, and since then Prince has come back, so he'll be in this video apparently. Hey Prince. Basically, it feels like time itself is accelerating, and fortunately the number of things that I've been invited to be a part of has also accelerated. So we're going over all the new opportunities that I've been presented with and everything that I can hopefully present to you guys to be of more value for the community that we're building at large. We're going over fundamental aspects of existence coming up. Seriously, he's going to be in this entire video, so we'll see how that goes. But if you notice, the tomatoes behind me are just starting. I've been pruning the bottom leaves, or my roommate has been pruning the bottom of anything below the first clusters, just because to prevent blight or any soil splash, and just to remove any of the senescing leaves. So I was up chatting with my neighbors up the road, and they had the same thing. So super late garden year, but let's walk around. We actually have a pineapple, if you can see that we're trying. But lettuce is on its way out. Sweet potatoes are still doing well and taking off. Prince is going to walk along with us. We're still getting some strawberries. That guy. And, hey Prince. The first opportunity, or the first change that I'll tell you guys about is we have merged with the Microgreens farm. So KC Gardens is now Sprout Culture. I'll be doing a podcast with Jessa at Sprout Culture. His family's got a good history with microgreens from the West Coast. That'll be next week, so look out for that podcast. And I also bit the bullet and have been doing a deep dive into molecular hydrogen and fundamental hydration as part of health coaching, as part of just life. So I bought a multi-pure, which I will be doing videos on, which is the best filtration unit that I could find. And then I also bought a Kangen molecular hydrogen machine, and that is arriving today, and I'll be doing videos on hooking it up and experiments on it. I do deep dives into things. That's what I did for agriculture. That's what I usually do to just learn all aspects from fundamentals up to mastery of something. So my microgreens partner, Justin, has had one for a year. We've been watering the microgreens with it, and it's got some interesting integrative pest management and absorption capabilities for agriculture, but it's got way more potential than that. And his business partner for the water, Ashley, who I did a podcast on 2 weeks ago, is now my business partner as well, and we're working on getting living water into more people's hands in Western North Carolina or just anywhere in the country, because you don't have to be here. But we'll be doing a lot of presentations on all the uses of having a molecular chemistry set at your disposal, basically in the power of H2 molecular hydrogen. Cool things coming on that. So I'll be doing a lot of water content. The third thing, I did a podcast with Nathan Phillips of Resource Network. So that's a local Asheville, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Austin, Texas Web3 barter network, and I'm on that marketplace. So if anyone is interested in participating in decentralized finance and bringing your community into Web3, check out that podcast. All these links will be below. On the growing aspect, you guys know I do a ton of vegetable growing, but I've been getting invited into more large-scale food forest projects. I've been working with Joe Bass at ideallyeco.com. We were in South Carolina a couple weeks ago, and I'll be in northern Georgia next week doing a full prep for a permaculture project. But I've also realized that I don't have the time to do all these things, so I have been invited to be a partner with Food Forest Abundance. That's Jim Gale's company. You'll know him from Alpha Vedic, or maybe will have known him prior, but he is a wealth of information and created a franchisable permaculture model so that any designer or installer can kind of have the tools ready, and you don't have to build everything from scratch each time you form a business or do a project. So if anyone is interested in doing a food forest or just small scale permaculture project, the links for that will be below. I'm happy to help if I'm in this area, but I have a bunch of partners here as well. They're in all over the country, so if you've been thinking about doing perennials or real food forest and taking back your nutrition for the long term, that's a good way to go. Obviously, I am scrambling looking for land at the moment so that I can have my own and start my own food forest and have berries and trees and not just do the perennials all the time, although that is definitely what I enjoy doing most, so that's cool. The last project that I'll mention, the last modality or area of fundamental existence that I haven't gotten to yet. So we got the health from health coaching, we got food cultivation from Microgreens, gardening, permaculture. We have fundamental hydration from living water, lifestyle, sunlight, um, getting back to the basics of the fundamental human operating system, if you will. And the last part for me is energy. Energy as in electricity, as in powering everything. Geothermal is a great way to go, but the more accessible to me is solar, and I've actually been invited by a company to be a solar consultant for them because of my interest in sovereignty and decentralization. So I've been going around Asheville just chatting with people about solar, and it is it's come a long way in 10 years. The last exposure I had to it was at Mother Earth News, like 6 years ago, and the tech just wasn't great at that point. The panels weren't that efficient. Um, the industry was going through a lot of hiccups still. It's come a long way in 6 years, and the panel cost has come down to the point where the efficiency doesn't matter too much anymore as long as you have roof space. So um, I'm working with Spartan Solar as a company, and we are basically getting people zero cost solar that just replaces their utility bill. So instead of paying Duke or whoever is in your area, if you get solar, once the install is done at no cost, you just swap your payment over to paying for solar. It's pretty clean of a system, and if you have full sun, usually you can get between 80 and 120% coverage and build up enough credits to pay for it throughout the winter as well. So it's a pretty cool way of taking back your power and your electricity. And then we also have access to Tesla battery packs. So if you want to go full off-grid, that is entirely possible. If you're in the Carolinas and you've been interested in solar, the federal tax credit is dropping after December from 26% down to 22%, and then it will keep being phased down year after year. South Carolina has 51%. So if you're in South Carolina, I would do it now before you lose that 4%, or before end of year rather. If you're in the Carolinas, let me know if you've been thinking about solar, and I'll come out and do a free proposal for you. I've got 4 lined up next week. It's actually not as much of a racket as I thought it was. I used to think that solar was just way too expensive and not super efficient. The cost has come down and the efficiency has gone up, and it is actually a viable means of generating your own power now, which is awesome. It seems like it was just waiting for me. If you're interested in any of those fundamental aspects of life, reach out below. Sorry for the long video. We'll see more content. Like I said, podcast next week with Jessa with the Microgreens. We'll be doing more content on living water. I'm going to give you the whole bunch of different experiments I'm going to run with my water ionizer and my filtration unit. We'll be doing a Microgreens masterclass next week, a revamped ones for the platform that the water comes with. There's a group around it, and I'll be doing a masterclass for them, integrating living water into growing microgreens for yourself or for a business like we were doing. And stay tuned for updates.